Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we're talking Marcus Rashford. What's the problem? What next? And why am I doing it on That's Football? Well, basically because it's a bit of markets research in a sense. I want to know what you think, because not all of you will be Manchester United fans. What do you think about Marcus Rashford? The player, the season he's having, the interview that dropped. What are your thoughts on what's going? Because I've got to be honest with you, it amazes me actually that you can tell straight away, can't you? I'm sort of perplexed because he's not playing very well for Manchester United. We've got a big game coming up. He's our best paid player. He's the player of the year from last season. And then he's dropping interviews about, I'm not going to take it when people are questioning my passion and love for this football club. And look, my milkman might support Manchester United. I don't actually have a milkman. I get it from Sainsbury's. But you know what I mean. And it could be a milkwoman. My point is, they might love Manchester United, but they can't play on the pitch. It's somewhat irrelevant straight away to, don't question my love for Manchester United. I've been here since I was a kid. I've always wanted to play for Manchester United. That's not enough, I'm afraid. That is just PR. And I don't actually think all of this is PR, but that is PR because any Manchester United fan loves Manchester United. Any Liverpool fan loves Liverpool. Doesn't mean you can play up front for them and make them good enough to compete with the likes of Man City and Liverpool. So it's somewhat of a smokescreen because what it is that is PR. That's like, I'm playing rubbish at the moment. I'm getting a load of stick, but I love Man United. Don't question it. But that's not what we're talking about here. Marcus Rashford's been at Manchester United most of his life. He's Manc born and bred. He's a Man United fan. I'm sure he loves Manchester United. Are you good enough to play for them? Well, I believe you are, but why are you not playing good enough to play for them? And that's why people like Alan Shearer on BBC the other night, like people on the radio, like people like yourself say his body language is terrible. He doesn't care. And then he puts an interview out saying, I'm not very happy about it. People are questioning me, but they're questioning you because they can't understand why you're playing so bad. So if you love Man United and you're giving everything and you're playing like that, are you just not good enough then? Because people know you're good enough. So, and you end up in this revolving circle of like, well, what's the interview all about? Because most of it is talking about the journey to play for Man United, which is incredible. And, the work he's done off the pitch, which is incredible. But then it's like, don't question me. Don't question my love for Manchester United. But people are questioning you because actually they probably rate you because they're going, well, the reason he's not playing well must be just a lack of effort. The reason he's going out into nightclubs the night before training must be because he's just not happy. Because if you were shit, people wouldn't care. I mean, people aren't talking about shit players that aren't playing for Man United because they're like, well, they're not good enough. So, I've got to say, I don't understand what the interview is all about, and I don't really see what the point is. Although, what I will say is, let's be completely honest, some people have shit themselves based on this. Like, Rashford's done this interview, and, very, very powerful brand a few years ago. No one ever used to dare to say anything about Rashford because you'd get shut down. It was like massive, positivity around brand Rashford. And if you said anything bad, you got squashed. Whereas now it's open season because he's not playing well. But I have seen some response to it where people are, go on, Rashy, and calling out social media hate as the problem, which is remarkable because actually he's not put a good performance in. He's put a good interview out and people are going, yeah, go on, Rashy. And even people, even journalists are like, oh yeah, people are being a bit harsh on him. And it's like, but they're not. They're talking, Alan Shearer on national TV basically took a pop at Rashford because he's not playing very well. So forget social media, forget Twitter trolls, forget all of that. National TV, top scorer in the Premier League, pundit, basically said Rashford looks like he doesn't care. So what people are saying on social media is irrelevant. So stop blaming it on social media and toxic Twitter trolls, etc. It's in the mainstream now. And I think that's probably why he's done the interview, because that's when it becomes a problem. Because it's always easy to go, look at horrible, toxic social media bullying people. But actually, this is hitting the mainstream now, and that becomes a problem. So maybe that's why the interview is happening. But look, we did a reaction to this on the United stand last night. I wasn't on it, and some people messaged me and said, "Oh, we're getting a load of stick for it." And I said, "Well, just ignore it, because that's just people taking things, little clips." I've defended Rashford countless times on the United stand, to my detriment a few weeks ago, when I said the club dealt with it really well by, saying it was resolved and only making him miss one game for the Belfast incident. I stuck up for him on a couple of occasions there and got absolute pelters, when it would have been easier just to, castigate him and say, what a disgrace. So, people don't actually... I rate Rashford. He was one of my favourite players with Martial a few years ago. Look what happened to that. I believe there's a good player there. I'm just baffled by the inconsistency. That's my opinion. I don't care about what goes on off the pitch, to be honest with you. I don't really care about the nightclubs. I don't really care about the books. I think the charity work's fantastic. My personal perception of Rashford is, and I sort of agree with, and I will say this. I was listening to Rooney the other day, and he was saying something about Rashford the person, and he would know because he trained with him. And I thought, you know what? I absolutely know how the world works. The camera goes off or the game ends, and you stood there for a photo shoot. That finishes, and then the real person appears. I think with Rashford, he is not the brand that's been created. I don't think he is that brand. I think it's made a lot of people a lot of money, including him. But I don't think he's actually comfortable with that. He could be a really timid, shy, quiet, reserved individual who just wants to play football, who has been, swallowed up by the glamour and brand of being a top footballer. I personally think that's probably the truth. I don't think brand Rashford actually marries up with the person, and that happens with a lot of pop stars and actors and etc. But that's not the world's fault. That's the people who created him's fault. If he's feeling the pressure, you put yourself on a billboard, you're gonna get targeted. It's the way it is. Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, look, again, is it because he's English? I don't know. Why is it suddenly not fair to talk about Marcus Rashford because he's not playing well and criticise him for that? Cristiano Ronaldo was at Man United not that long ago, didn't go on tour, and certain outlets were hinting that, he was faking his own daughter's illness to not go on tour. Disgusting stuff like that, personal stuff like that. That wasn't 15 years ago. That was 2 years ago that this country, this Twitter, this media was making up and going in on Cristiano Ronaldo. And it's happened to plenty of other players as well. So, look, my thought is that this is a PR piece. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a PR piece. And it's a PR piece out of desperation to try and claw back something of what they had a couple of years ago, which was, Rashford was pretty much untouchable and adored. And now that brand is failing fast. So an interview like that is to claw that back. That's what it is. And you know what? If I was on the Rashford camp, I'd probably be considering doing the same thing. And so would you. Because, you've got to try and stop the rot. You've got to try and turn the corner. And if Rashford's somebody that's a confidence player and is disillusioned by the world around him, then you've got to try and make him feel, you've got to give him a bit of a bounce. So, a PR piece to win some people back. And already there's people out there going, oh, it's not fair the way he's been treated. And you sort of like go, but what are you talking about? Because people are just, the vast majority of people are talking about how he's performing on the pitch. And then you go back to the start again of the interview and you're like, well, as I said, nobody's questioning Rashford's love for Manchester United, but that's not going to be enough. You've got to perform on the pitch. Do your talking on the pitch. People are always going to hate. If you're famous and popular, you'll get built up and knocked down. That's the cycle. People are always going to hate. How do you silence your haters? You perform on the pitch if you're a footballer. It's as simple as that. And that's just what he's got to do. And whether you love Man United or not doesn't really matter. Because it's whether you're good enough to play for Manchester United. And if you're good enough to play for Manchester United, you do it every week. And as I said this morning when I was on the radio. Cristiano Ronaldo wanted to go to Real Madrid in his first stint. Everybody knew it. He wanted to go to Real Madrid. And we made him stay for another year. And we all knew he wanted to go to Real Madrid. He didn't want to be at Man United anymore. And yet he went on and had an amazing season, despite the fact that he didn't want to be here anymore. It's professionalism, it's consistency, it's quality. You don't need players that are born and bred Manchester United throughout your whole team. You need consistent performers who are professional. So, look, that's my thought on it. I'm not questioning the article. You know, I'm not questioning his love for Manchester United. I'm questioning why he's not performing on a Man United pitch for so long. And that's why some people are saying he's fell out of love with the game, doesn't want to be here, etc. But if he does want to be here and he is in love with Manchester United, then the question still remains, why are you playing so badly, so consistently? And the answer to that, only he knows. And he's got to perform on the pitch. And if he scores at the weekend, then all these critics saying sell him, etc., will be celebrating, and quite rightly so. And that's how you do it. But then you've got to go and do it the week after, and the week after, and the week after. And that's the question at the moment. And I think that's the question. And when if he doesn't understand that, and the people around him don't understand that, that's concerning. Like if he was irrelevant, people wouldn't be talking about him. It's only because he is relevant and not performing well that people are talking about him all the time. Because actually, it's a backhanded compliment, isn't it? It's because he's a good player and he's performing so badly that people keep going on about it. It's because he's a good player and he's not performing well that some people are saying sell him. But look, I'd love to know your thoughts, because sometimes you get the best opinions from people who are outside looking in, and not all of you will be Man United fans. So let me know what your thoughts are. And of course, and as I said as well, I'll call it out. There are some people out there who are shitting themselves now, or seeing it as an opportunity. And I would say, not all people, but some of them are like kissing his arse. Oh, go on, Rashi. It's unfair the way people talk about you. And I'd love to sit those people down more than I would Rashford and say, why are people criticising Rashford? Horrible then. And why are you backing him when he's not played well this season? Do you think it's acceptable how he's played this season? Yeah, I do, because I just do. Is that not player FC then? What do you mean? Well, he's not playing well. He hasn't played all season. People are criticising it, and you're calling those people haters. Yeah, because they are. But they're not. They're talking about his footballing ability. He's not been good enough this year. So why are you kissing his arse? This is the world we live in. Thank you, everybody. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video, and let me know what your thoughts are. And don't forget to check out Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. It was out today. Links in the video description.